What's good, y'all? So this video is not going to have any particular form. It's just going to be me reflecting on the last year of life. All right. You know, for me personally, I don't take birthdays seriously, at least at this point in my life. And maybe I'll change my tune later on in life. But right now, I don't care about birthdays. You know, like, every day is supposed to be your day. Every day is supposed to be a day you fulfilling yourself, you making yourself happy, you making yourself better than the day you were yesterday. You know, you've been alive another 24 hours. You're telling me that you've learned absolutely nothing in those 24 hours? You know, with those 7 days in a week, you're telling me there's been another week and you haven't learned anything new? You know, you haven't found a new way to make yourself happy. You haven't found a new way to bring life into your so-called life. You know what I'm saying? Us calling it a life is weird, but you got to use general words to make sure everybody's on the same page. Life is the energy that's around you, the life, the ki, the chi, the mana. All that stuff is around you at all times. So you're supposed to be ingesting that every single day. Every single moment of your existence, you're supposed to be taking that in. So why is it that one day out of 365 days in our calendar, Gregorian calendar years, that we give credence to ourselves, that we praise ourselves? It's almost like that's the one day where everyone else is supposed to come praise you. And that feels weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I legitimately forgot it was my birthday. And that's not even on some depressive stuff. That's not even on, no, it's just, I just simply don't care. You know, the things that people care about, I don't. How did I spend my day? Doing what I typically do. And at the end of the day, I play video games with my friend. Very simple. And he didn't even know it was my birthday. You know, and that's just the way I like it. You know, it's like, one of the more cynical thoughts I had, even like way back when, like, you know, when I started like Facebook in high school and stuff. Well, I was like, why is it that you're only telling me happy birthday when you get a notification? It wasn't even important enough for you to remember it. So why are you sending me all this fake love and happy birthday? Oh my God, I love you, blah, blah. You haven't talked to me all year. This is the only time I actually hear from you. So why is it that you feel the need now that you got the notification that said it's so-and-so's birthday today that you go send them a message? Why didn't you hit them up the other 364 days out of the year? You know, once again, I'm not looking at this as a depressive type of, you know, mode that I'm in. It's just how I see it. You know, sometimes I ruin the fun for myself, I'll fully admit. But on the other end of the spectrum, it's like, but what about the other 364? You know, but this year came with a lot of lessons, you know, like a lot of lessons and a lot of growth. Every year I say it's been exponential growth. And that's one of the things that makes me, weirdly enough, like, I know we're talking about like kind of the negative aspects of things, but it's just how my mind works sometimes. You know, it's like I see the quote, quote, good and the quote, quote, evil, the positive and the negatives of everything. And you'd be slighting yourself if you didn't acknowledge the negative sides of any contemplation. But, you know, one of the things I notice is like growth makes you lonely, potentially. Now, like, it's like, let me rephrase and put y'all more into my world. Growth, being a loner, being a lone wolf type of individual, can make you extremely, extremely lonely. That is actually like if I had to like summarize my biggest problem throughout this year, it's loneliness. And it's always been that for a while, but this year, like, it really showed itself. But on that same end, you know, we turn lead into gold over here. You know, so that loneliness, that means that solitude, that means it's more opportunity to give time and energy and life to yourself. You know, keep making yourself better. But it's like a dual-edged sword sometimes, though, because when you make yourself so much better in your individual little bubble, you're learning so much when you are isolated from the world. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what geopolitical event. You don't know what sports player moved to what team. You don't know what celebrity gossip happened. You don't know what political things. You don't know nothing. All you know is the last book you were reading, the last podcast you were listening to, the last experience you were having while you were in meditation, whatever. It's your world. So then when you have to step outside of your bubble into the big bubble that is, you know, the world at large around you, sometimes it can be, for me personally, it's weird connecting with people on that level, because it's not like I'm being condescending, like, oh, you don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, so we don't have much to talk about, blah, blah, blah. But for me, it's like my eye, my sight is becoming stronger. My intuition is coming back online. The things that I just know from sitting out in the sun, they come to me. So when I speak to people that have no experience in this field of metaphysics, alchemy, magic, what have you, occult, whatever, it's like I find it incredibly difficult to dumb myself down to have a so-called regular conversation. My conversations aren't regular. Me not knowing you, I want to know who hurt you. If you were to walk up to me in the park and have a conversation and you're talking about this and that, blah, blah, and fuck this and fuck that, blah, 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 my only question in my world is who hurt you? Or why are you so angry? But you see, that's a conversation that you can only have with people that you're really comfortable with. And don't get me wrong, different strokes for different folks. There's certain conversations or certain topics that I'll only go with people I trust, or my platform, or my YouTube channel, my Discord chat, whatever. But one of the things that's become so apparent to me is the baggage that people carry. Of course, I try to summarize it around young people. Guess who I'm around the most? But, when I'm actually around people. But it's the baggage that people are carrying, grown and young. You can be, I sit at this park and there's a bunch of old people that walk in the mornings, and you see some of them that are just angry with life, angry. They have their little friends, but when you hear them, all you hear them talking about is gossip, talking about other stuff. And I get it. Once again, that might be how life is as an old person, but I still feel like I have more of a contribution to society, rather than sitting around just walking around talking about that person 3 doors down in the senior's living home and blah, 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 finding something to complain about. And there's a reason, though, because I use my grandma as a huge what's the word I'm looking, like an example of how to look in your elder years. You would not guess my grandmother's her age. You wouldn't. She walks around, she's full of energy, she's laughing, she's thinking, she's learning all the time. And I see older people that are younger than her, and they just look old, decrepit, breaking down, they can't do things on their own. Yet alone my grandmother, in her stature, drives herself everywhere, has a routine, goes to the gym, hears me when I'm talking about different herbs and stuff, and she tells me how good it makes her feel. So I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, she's that old and they're that old. What's the difference between you and you? Your energy. That's something that is so apparent to me. And throughout this year, let me give another shout out to grandma. It's like, I've said this a couple of times. My grandma is my best friend. My best friend. Of course, with young people, you have your best friends and that type of stuff, whatever. But it's but if I had to put it all stipulations, all filters aside, my grandma is my best friend, because I can call her and we can talk for hours about everything and nothing at the same time. That's just how I get down. I see everything and nothing as equal. Everything and nothing is just a degree of expression. If you have a whole bunch of things, that's one side of the spectrum. If you have quote, quote, nothing, then that's the other side of the spectrum. So everything and nothing are the same to me. So if we want to talk about random nothingness, just random thoughts that came to our mind, let's go for it. And I'm not talking about just me and my grandma, even though that is obvious, but just anyone in general. I'm just not with useless conversations. Now, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. I get that. But it's I'm not down for useless conversation. I don't care if you are the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. If we can't hold a conversation, I don't care. I also don't care if you're a grown-ass established man that's throwing out money to people. But if you just know that you're never going to see me ever again in your life, sure, of course, there's lessons to be learned from everybody and everything. I know, blah, blah, blah. Find the balance in what I'm saying. But it's just I don't care if I'm never going to see you again, if I'm never going to meet with you again, if I'm never going to interact with you again. I don't know. Of course, that's a very limiting mindset. And as I talk, I do this with myself. Who's to say you'll never meet that person ever again? Or me talking to myself. Are you going to be the one that establishes the conversation to which you two will meet again? Or, are you going to be the one that pushes this thing away? I'm mixing different ideas here, but we'll just let them all rock together. I saw a video this morning that talked about how, like, if you want to enter my life or exit my life, the door is open, right? And I found that myself, and I know if I'm one of the kids in the classroom, somebody else in the classroom is doing the same mistake that I do. So I like to express myself in that way. It's like I have definitely been someone that closed the door on certain aspects. Now, certain times you have to close them to let other things in. You cannot have, freedom and captivity at the same time. It's like, so where are you at on the spectrum? Where are you at? So sometimes you have to close certain doors. Like you have to close certain doors to certain people in your life to make room for someone else to enter, of course. And sometimes if someone wants to leave your life, you have to learn when to open the door. And you open the door and lay out the red carpet for, oh, you want to leave my life? Well, go on right ahead. But you do know that once you consciously leave my life, you cannot come back. Is that understood? You see what I'm saying? I've noticed this year, like near the end of this year, was a lot of people coming back into my life. And I find that to be very interesting to observe. Because once again, like a lot of the people that are coming back into my life are people that kind of just faded off when I was doing my own thing. They didn't say, screw you, fuck you, I don't need you no more, bye. It's just more so we just lost touch. And then over the course of time, based off of my energy, based off of the things that I'm willing to give to the world, certain people come back in, And I've been observing that recently because it makes me feel a little less alone. It actually gives me hope that maybe I've already met everyone that I'm supposed to meet in my life and they just have different times in my life. Or maybe this is just a sign that there's more to come. Who knows? I'm just living my life the way I see fit. But with that being said, sometimes like there is sacrifice involved. For me personally, it's like, I always talk about the good and the evils of life. And for me personally, I don't see there to be good and evil, but for when I'm making these videos, the light and the dark, the good and the bad aspects of things, blah, 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 blah. It's all arbitrary. It's all about what position you have, in your spiritual journey, in your life's journey, what you've seen, what you haven't seen, blah, 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 blah. But one of the things that I do always go back to is sometimes I do feel like I'm skipping my 20s. That is one of the thoughts I have sometimes because I made a conscious effort to sacrifice certain things that I see a lot of young people being hindered by. The celibacy, the semen retention stuff is something that it was a huge sacrifice for me because don't get me wrong, there's a part of me that still wants to live that young person, that young bachelor life. Like I said, I'm tall, dark, and handsome. I'm pretty. I'm a handsome, intelligent individual. This has been proven to me in my external world, but I don't need the external world to tell me this. I know this on the inside. I just know that I myself am a niche type of individual. Sure, I can fake the funk if necessary. Sure, I can do this, but if you really sit down with me, you're going to realize that like I'm a 0 or 100 with people. I'm 0 or 100. Either get the fuck away from me or I love you and let me help you the best I can. I can only help you as much as you allow me to help you. But sometimes with that being said, it's like I don't feel like a lot of young people are comfortable with another young person being their therapist. There's like a part of my mind, and shout out to my mom for this. Shout out to my mom and dad because both of them are teachers, but my mom specifically because she's a guidance counselor and I've grown up with her. So there's certain things that have just been downloaded into me from my mom, but then also too, that coupled with the stuff that I'm learning in myself, it's like it makes a combination for me to utilize in my own way. And I found that a lot of young people don't trust young people because what do young people do? We gossip. I know I say like I'm an old man like in a young person's body, and that is very true. There's just certain things that young people do around me that just makes no fucking sense. One of those things, like once again, the beauty of sacrifices, even though sometimes you long for it, you also see why you made that decision in the first place. Let's keep it on the sexual conversation. It's like I see so many young people just running around seeking validation, men and women alike, running around seeking validation through sex. And I'm like, you do realize that is not what you use this practice for, And it's like, and we're going to stay on this topic a little bit because this is a big deal. This is something that is very important in my world at this moment in time. You know, it's like we have beautiful, beautiful, beautiful young women. Beautiful. I mean, gorgeous. Like anyone would be lucky to have them as a wife, to even have them in their lives, right? And once again, everybody's entitled to do what they want to do. That's fine. But when I see like a beautiful woman like this is giving her body up to somebody that's no good for her, like, sure, yes, they're in a different position in their life journey. But I just can't help but be like, but why though? Did you at least learn your lesson from it? No? Oh, you're still going to keep giving yourself the Tyrone, wondering why you're not getting an emotional connection? Okay, well, good luck, sweetheart. You know, it's like it's like, you know, crappy dudes that turn good girls into crappy women, and it's crappy women that turn good dudes into crappy dudes. You know, looking for love in all the wrong places, all that type of stuff. This is something that I've learned, but I learned on a very light, tangential scale. You know, for example, like I still say to this day, even though I don't use them anymore, I am still a big proponent for dating apps. You just have to learn how to play the game. You know, but for me personally, I had to take my own advice, my own observations into consideration, where I was like, looking for love on a dating app probably isn't the best idea, because there's more hurdles to overcome on a dating app versus real life. You know, me, if you were to see me, there's a 90% chance I'm wearing nothing important. You know, I'm wearing the same old hoodie I always wear, maybe some crystals, I'll start a conversation, you know, wearing my toe shoes or some slides. I don't dress up, because why? You know, random dating thought about that real quick. I always found it interesting that people say that I'm looking for a life partner, I'm looking for a relationship, blah, 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 blah. But then first impressions are still important. So your first impression, the first 30 seconds of you laying your eyes on the individual, you now know if you're not going to spend time with this individual. So based off of the way I dress, you think I have nothing to offer you. You see, this is kind of why I do what I do. Can you recognize the value that's in front of you? You know, it's like, for me personally, it's like I have a very simple way. Don't get me wrong. I say I'll break my own rules. Like, it's a very situational thing, but this is a rule that I utilized to kind of cope with individuals. And some people might say this sounds like a little bit of having like a high ego. I do have a high self-esteem in myself, but it's just like one of the things I did to cope with people not recognizing my greatness. Once again, me, like in a time where I was still seeking external gratification or validation, is the fact that I speak when spoken to. You know, this, like, near the end of this year was me mastering minding my own business. You know, don't get me wrong. Yes, I come across as very confident and like I got everything together on my YouTube, but there's still things I'm figuring out in my own world, in my own life. And one of those things, though, was like, why don't people recognize how great I am? That might sound like, you know, really messed up. And of course, I know I have more to learn. I'm just a baby in these streets. I get it. But I'm still freaking awesome. Why is it that me and the man in the mirror seem to be the only people that recognize that? And of course, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, all that type of stuff. But I mean, like, you know, people outside of my circle, people outside of my family. Why is it that I have to do something crazy? It's like, why is it that I can see the greatness in everybody else? Don't get me wrong. I will definitely put on blast when you are falling short for yourself, because I want you to win. You know what I'm saying? But why is it that even through your faults, I can see the greatness in everybody? I see it. One of my earliest practices from years ago was like, you know, I salute the divinity in you. I used to say that to my sandals. I used to say that to the ground. I used to say that to the park as a whole in the macrocosm. I used to see the trees. I used to see the squirrels, the birds. I salute the divinity in you. Whatever it is, no matter how depressed, no matter how buried it is in there, we all got it. White, black, Asian, polka dot, 1 leg, 2 leg, 3 legs, 4. It doesn't matter. We all have divinity in us. So why is it that I can see it in all of you? And I treat you with the respect because I see the divinity in you, but no one sees it in me. You see what I'm saying? Or people do, but they're too intimidated, or they're not used to articulating happy thoughts towards a stranger. That's another thing I've been thinking about. People are so quick to criticize, but you're so slow to praise. That's something that I notice a lot in this world. You know, one of the things that actually helped me see this is corporate America. You know, like I know when I speak to people that like, especially on my role in corporate America, and they might see me as lazy. They might see me as, you know, not reaching, you know, not like striving, not being motivated. No, I'm incredibly motivated. But one of the things I practice in corporate America is, in fact, being invisible. Doing just enough to do a good job. Not doing just enough to get by. No, doing just enough to do a good job. Because, see, the problem with corporate America is they want you to take on more and more and more and more and more responsibility, but you might get a raise. You might get that 0.01% raise, and you might get that 1% raise, 2% raise, you know, assuming you're in a typical life, you know, typical world like that. So wait. So you hired me, let's just say at 40 grand. Okay. You hired me at $40,000 an hour, or that'd be nice. $40,000 a year. And you signed me on to do A, B, and C. Okay. Well, I signed on, I joined the company, and I do A, B, and C, A, B, and C. And now I'm in the routine. I'm in my workflow, right? But then so-and-so needs you to step it up a little bit. So now they got you doing A, B, C, and D. A, B, C, and D, A, B, C, and D, A, B, C, and D. And if you're someone like I worked with in my first project, you're going to be that person that complains about it every single day. A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. I'm not getting paid to do the D, E, F. I'm not getting paid to do this. So, blah, 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 blah. Well, why are you complaining to me? I'm in the field position. There's a reason why I'm here. If you've been doing this for this many years and you're still complaining about it, why are you not complaining to the right people? You're complaining to a field person. Like, you know, there's stuff like that I see all the time. So it's like, for me in corporate America, I'm not going to give them that extra effort because you don't get compensated for it. And even if you do go above and beyond, most times you have to go above and beyond like 12,000 different times before you get any type of praise, if you will, for lack of a better word. You know, you're not going to get it in corporate America. You're going to get an email that says, "Thank you so much, good job," and then they're on to the next one. Like, you have to advertise yourself, and that's like one of the weird things that I don't like doing. I don't like selling myself like that. You know, well, I've done this, I stepped it up like this, I've done this, so can I please have more money? Don't get me wrong, I'm getting paid now more than I ever have. This is more money than I've ever touched in my life, you know, but it's still not enough for me. And that's actually a weird thing. Another conversation I had, you know, I go back and forth with this, but it's like, I have, you know how like in the dating world, they say that people have unrealistic expectations? The thing is with me, I have incredibly high expectations, but not for necessarily just a day. I just wanted to put in the scope of things. It's like, I have incredibly high expectations for myself. I don't care what the world wants me to do. I don't care if some of these little girls, and I say little girls on purpose, want a man that makes $100,000 a year. And I don't have that yet. But guess what? I have something that somebody with $100,000 has. You know, and I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm just saying, like, in comparison, if you were to just, like, you know, cut and dry, make a stark comparison, I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy. And don't get me wrong, my face gets scrunched up like this. I mean, I'm sitting in the sun too. But like, you know, it's like my face might be scrunched up all the time. I might look reserved. I might look standoffish. I might look antisocial. But no, I'm happy as hell. I'm just living in my own little world, thinking about random thoughts that popped up in my world. You know? And I appreciate these little weird nuances in people. You know, but what I've learned, especially from the young person dating, I didn't do a lot of it this year, but like, you know, like one of the things I've learned, no, it's a lie, I did. It's not a lot. But anyway, my times got all mixed up there. But like, anyway, it's like, I see the small little nuances in people, but what I've learned from dating is just like, people have so many walls up. I'm not saying I'm above this, you know, but that's the reason why there's such a stark disconnect in between, like amongst young people, especially. That's just from the scope, like young being like, you know, like 32 and younger, you know, because we still babies out here. You know, you think you're grown when I know I'm tangenting right now, but it's like, I know that, like, you know, when you're 16 and you get your car, you think you're on top of the world. When you're a senior in high school, you think you run things. And then you go to college, and then you're a freshman that doesn't know what the hell's going on. And then you go throughout the years, you take a bunch of classes, you take a bunch of coursework, you do a bunch of projects, you do a bunch of studies. Then senior year, you think you run the world. You think you know everything about the world. Then you join the real world where there's no meal plans, there's no dorms, there's no, consistent source of friends around you all the time unless you put yourself in that situation. You have to go out there and get everything. You don't realize how spoon-fed you are for the first 20-something years of your life. Now I'm not opposed to people having a strong opinion that's opposite of mine on a certain topic. But one of the things I always repeat to myself as college students, you don't know shit about shit. You don't know a goddamn thing about anything in college. You don't. Sure, of course, there's lessons that will translate out there in the real world, of course. But you don't know anything. And the best examples are go look at political debates. Go look at Ben Shapiro and amongst other people like conservatives that go on college campuses, right? And you'll see the immaturity of people that think they know something. You're saying something that I disagree with. Define a woman. Only a woman can define a woman. Does that make sense? Like, that sentence does make sense to some people. But then you ask that simple question. I saw this on a clip. It's like, so you have to be a woman to say what a woman is. Yes, so you have a pet cat. So are you a cat? So how can you call that thing a cat? Well, that's different. So we're just moving the goalposts. You see what I'm saying? And this is something that you can't articulate to people. Yes, I get it. Certain information is more easily ingested in a certain political space, a certain environmental conversation, a particular conversation. I get it. And sometimes you do have to move it. But sometimes while you're in that scope, while you're in that arena, you set it up that it has to be like this. So it's like, you like it like this. I will ask you 4 more times to confirm your stance on this position. You think that, let's just say, only women can identify women. That's your thing. We'll just keep it in this scope of things. But then some guy will show up and be like, well, what has your mom been calling herself her entire life? So she could tell you what a woman is. Like a person that's like, a person that draws maps, right? Mad simple. I know nothing about drawing maps, but, like you draw a map, and the person that draws a map will be a very qualified person to tell you that that's a compass, right? Like the little, north, south, east, west, little thing on the corner, the legend, if you will. So they could tell you which way this map is oriented. But with them telling you that, can't you not, the person that doesn't draw maps, now know that that is a compass that says north, south, east, west? The person that made this map says the compass is right there. So what are you arguing about? Only this person can tell me. That's just like saying scientists are the only ones that can tell you about health. Scientists are here to experiment. Scientists get paid to validate the information that their donors want them to look for. Tell me why this plant can heal me. Well, it has chlorophyll in it, and chlorophyll can do this and this. But this might be I don't know what this is. It's just some random grass I pulled up. But it's like the scientists could tell you that chlorophyll in this will be very healthy, bringing oxygen to your bloods, helps you with altitude sickness, helps you slowly deodorize the internals of your body, helps you absorb sunlight a little bit easier from the chlorophyll. But they leave out in their report that if you, put this in your mouth and chew it, it has some type of chemical that's not supposed to be ingested by humans. I'm just making up stuff, but you see what I'm saying? It's like, but you're a scientist. Only a scientist can tell me about this. Well, if you look at any of us like conscious community, it's like this hasn't happened to me yet. But it's like I keep a lot of the high level shit to myself until I can really articulate it. But it's like we have conscious community members that will say like how these government bodies, these research facilities are emailing them. How did you know such and such? How could you have done this and this? How could you have known this and this? Wait, are you surprised that we know everything because you've hidden all of the information in your libraries, in your prestigious schools? See, that's the funniest thing. Random thought, but I forgot where we originally started off with this. But colleges are the biggest scam ever. You can't take that away from me. I went to a school that when I tell people what school I went to, they're like, whoa, really? Wow, that's amazing. And in the back of my head, I'm like, I didn't utilize my time there appropriately. Don't get me wrong, in the scheme of life, the way that life transpired, I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to learn the hard lessons. I was supposed to have a different experience than the peers around me, because that's what set my mind off in a completely different trajectory than everybody else. But you have to really pay attention to something. If you get into these big prestigious schools, and I'm not even talking like I went to a school like Harvard, Yale, MIT, and stuff like that. But like if you get into like one of these bigger schools, even like a random public state school, whatever, Ohio, Kansas, Kansas State, Kansas University, whatever. One of the things that you have to do is you have to go to the library. These schools have these huge libraries of these old books, but we are too young and too dumb to go through them. Listen, if I knew then what I knew now, I wouldn't have gone to classes. I would have picked a curriculum or a major that gave me all the opportunity to be in the library to read all of that text, all of those books. And then with us getting into the digital age, sometimes they digitize the books. To be fair, when you digitize books, you can omit certain information, but nevertheless, it's like if I were to redo college, I would go back and I would get me like like some type of theory major, some type of not even political studies, but like archaeology or some shit, something that I don't even care about, but gives me an excuse to be in the library. Because what you don't realize is there's another reason why these schools are so prestigious. We live in the information age in this technological world. So if you have a bunch of information, that means you can do a lot with it. People that have the most information, people that are in the know, people that are the most connected will tend to be a lot more successful in this society. So success, how do I become successful? In the way that we've been taught, have to do good in school and have to get into a good college. So when you are put into this mindset, when you're put into this streamline of marketing, advertisement, and brainwashing, you think that you have to go to college and you think you have to go to the most expensive, the most prestigious school to get a leg up in the world, which in a way it does help, But there's a reason why they're so prestigious. There's a reason why, without you knowing anything about college, without you knowing anything about your degree, when you are 16 years old, picking the major that you plan on setting yourself to for the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years of your life, there's a reason why there's certain names that stick out to you, because they have more information than you. And a lot of it is in these old ass books in these libraries. Some of them, like I wish I knew networking back then. I wish, because I would got really cool with the librarian, really cool with the TAs, really cool with the professors. And but hey, what text where did this person learn? Where did they learn? Where did they learn? Where did they learn? Where did they learn? And then if you utilize all of the resources that are available to you in the college environment, you could be like, hey, I need to place an order for this book. Your tuition already paid for it. And I'm sure there's ways that they could order the books for you to get, because that's no money for one book. Okay, cool. That's nothing for a college institution to which you're paying tens of thousands of dollars, accruing tens of thousands of dollars of debt to go learn something. That makes no sense. Isn't education supposed to enrich you? That's why I feel weird about, once again, different strokes for different folks. I get it that people are in different positions in their lives. That's why I've made this channel free. I've never monetized this channel. It's like information is supposed to grow you, but why is it that my pursuit, my seek for this information, it dwindles me, it cripples me? And now now that you have this piece of paper from our establishment, you now owe us until you pay it off. And then they don't teach you nothing about money. They don't teach you nothing about interest. They don't teach you about how paying the bare minimum makes you pay more money over the course of time. It's like, if you're paying the bare minimum on something, maybe you shouldn't have bought whatever it was in the first place. I think about money a lot, and not like, how do I get more money? No, it's like I have a bunch of it, and every single day I see it transpiring. I see it precipitating into my life. When I get like random donations, I don't care if they $5 or $50. When people donate money to me, it's like that's energy to me. I don't publicize my donation thing. Don't get me wrong, it's there because don't get me wrong, even as a billionaire, I will take your $5. Let's not get it screwed up. I ain't blocking my blessings. If y'all choose to bless me, best believe I'm going to take it every time, But it's like they say money is the root of all evil. I don't believe that. I don't. I believe it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Yes, the money has to be there for it to be the root of the thing that you love. I get it. But I believe at the end of the day, like money is just money. If there's $100, like this sandal's $100, it's just over there. It doesn't affect my life if I don't give it any energy. It's just there. Just like how that tree, I could talk to that tree right now. This grass, these little flowers popping up in the middle of the field. They don't really exist until I animate them with my energy that allows this whole physical experience around me to even exist. The example that I gave, right? It's like in your world, now you can see behind me. So in your world, you have given the energy, the attention, where attention goes, energy goes. So you've given the attention to things behind me, right? But in my world, I can only see, like if we're using regular vision with my 4 eyes here, it's like I can look around me, but Bobo the clown could have popped up right behind me. The clown with his freaking balloons could be standing right behind me, but he does not exist behind me because I have given him none of my energy. Even my receptors, if I don't want them to perceive the thing behind me, I will show it no fear. That's another thing. Hold on, let me finish my thought. I told you, I'm just talking. I'm just reflecting. But like the things, like people be wondering why things piss them off so much, but yet every single day they sign up to go ingest it. Oh my God, I can't stand Susan. Hey Susan, you want to go out for brunch? Oh my God, I hate that bitch. Huh? Yo, bro, this man don't work out with me, bro. I'm trying to lift 5 plates today. He can only do like 135, bro. Like, man, I'm just trying to get my workout in, but I can't keep affording to take the plates down, put them up. Then why do you keep working out with the said individual? You can't stand political commentary, but I can guarantee you if I start scrolling through your YouTube, your Instagram, you're following some people that give this particular input. You see what I'm saying? It's like I got people waving at me. I don't even know who you are. Hey, how you doing? Went out of your way to wave at me across the field, but hey, whatever. That's just my energy. Speaking of which, I know I'm getting all random here, but we just talking. The semen retention life is an amazing life. And this is something that I wish more women were privy to in all actuality. Since it isn't semen retention, I know there's men and women that watch these videos, but it's like, I really do wish more women were privy to the powers that came with semen retention. Don't get me wrong, I'm kind of living in a romanticized view when it comes to relationships in my head, because I spend a lot of time by myself, and I guess one of the ways to cope is to use my mental alchemy, be in a relationship in my head. Some people on the outside would say like that sounds mad lonely, and hey, it might be. I struggle with loneliness, so it would make sense. But I also do it as me feeding energy to something that I know will transpire in my future. I'm really big into the manifestation, law of attraction and stuff. But one of the things that's really set this forward with me, and one of the things that's really helped me accept my position, accept the quote loneliness, accept the solitude, accept the being different, accept being the 1% mind. And I'm not saying 1% mind like this whole, the 1% man and woman and all that type of stuff. I just mean like, I don't think like most people. I don't. You're in a social environment. You're supposed to be talkative. Why? I'm in a social environment. Yes, I am in social environment. I am in this world. I am not of it. I'm not a truly social individual. I'm not. I value intimate conversations. Intimacy, it means more than sex. I want to have an intimate conversation with men. I want to have an intimate conversation with women. I want to have an intimate conversation with young children. Tell me what you're thinking about, kid. Well, why is the grass green? I don't know. Why is the grass green? Well, I think the grass is green because it makes the world look prettier. There you go. That's your answer. And guess what? You're allowed to change that answer. You're allowed to add to that answer. You're allowed to take away from that answer. You're allowed to amend that answer. You know, you are allowed to completely scrap your original answer. And that's another thing I see. A lot of people, they hold so tightly to a certain belief system when it no longer serves them. I love seeing, like, you know, once again, I'm not here to divide. I just love seeing it. You know, once again, I'm not political. I believe that the Republicans, Democrats, technocrats, they're all here to destroy you. They're all in here to serve their self-interest. You know, it's like, since when do servants get paid more than the people that they are serving? That's all you got to know, right? But if I were to care about politics, one of the things that bothers me the most is like the level of ignorance that is plaguing everybody, but especially being a so-called black person, a native indigenous individual. It's like, okay, wait, hold up. So you just, like, I love it when people like blindside them. So if someone were to say, blah, 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 you would think they're an evil person, right? Oh my God, who would do that? I would never vote for someone like that. Well, it turns out that the Democrats did this, that. The Democrats were actually the ones that were, you know, supporting putting up a wall. The Democrats were the ones that were funding this. But then this got turned around when Trump came in the office. But wait, you completely ignore the fact that the Democrats were also trying to put the wall up too. Trump's racist, Trump's racist, Trump's racist. You do know that your president has been in office like a huge chunk of U.S. history, right? And he's been there the entire time. And this racist things have been happening while he has been there. But he's just not as vocal about it because he's Uncle Joe that wants to trip over his own bicycle pedal. But you just make excuses for the people that you like and completely demonize the people that you don't. Once again, is Trump an idiot? Maybe. Is Biden an idiot? Yes. Is every politician an idiot? Yes. Let me throw some personal shots at some of Kamala Harris. A black woman is the vice president, but she has the interviewing skills of a middle school child. You know, I have never heard so many, don't get me wrong, screw politicians and everything that they do, but you still got to recognize game. You still got to learn from your enemies. Politicians have never been so informal. Come on, man. Come on, man. Well, is it true that this and mobilization is going to take Come on, man. Why you asking questions like that, man? We all just got to work together and come on, man. Come on. Bitch, you're my quote, leader. And you're just saying, come on, man. So where are people supposed to get these tests that they're sending out and blah, blah, blah? Just Google it. Kamala Harris 2021. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much like just Google it. I'm like, your answer to where you enforce this whole mandate on us. And we ask you questions about how to uphold said mandate, and you tell us to Google it? That's our vice president here. The levels of deflection. Like, once again, this is all politicians, all CEOs that get put on trial at the Senate, Congress, whatever. Like, when they get put on trial for like stealing money, stealing information, all this type of stuff, they be sitting here and they be like, for example, let's go back to it. Because this is one of those things that actually does irritate me, because I do believe that there is a war on masculinity, you know, but like, they'd be like, what is a woman? And these PhDs, these millionaires, these billionaires, these politicians, these state representatives, these behavioral studies people. What is a woman? Well, the current literature is out for debate. Okay, cool. So you, Bob Smith, made that up, but you, Bob Smith, are you married to a man? Well, no, I'm a heterosexual. Oh, so heterosexual. So a man and a what? What have you been married to for the past 10, 20 years of this entire time before everything got so politically correct? Who have you been married to your entire life? Well, this is my wife. And is your wife a man or a woman? Well, so for the past 20 years, you have been calling your wife a woman. Your wife calls herself a woman, but all of a sudden when you're on camera, you can't answer that question. This is the world we live in. Let me go ahead and trigger some people that were feeling the vibes, but like, I'm here now. You know, there is and once again, there's gay people in the family, there's gay people around me, there's gay people I've worked with, but there is an agenda at play. Don't get me wrong, it's not my community, so maybe it's not my place to speak, but I'm not afraid to share my thoughts with the world. There's so many flags now. There's so many. You drive around, you see a new flag every day. This one is blue and pink. This one has a random, like the transgender thing on it. This one is that. This one is that. But then, wait, okay. So here's the double standard that we get a part of now. You can openly place your stuff, your beliefs all out here and open because it's gay pride and because it was June. Every company now gives a shit about you, just like how they care about Black Lives Matter when it's very relevant, right? Y'all are part of the system too. But anyway, it's like, you can put your flags up there. You can put your gay pride. You can put your trans. You can put your whatever, all these random flags and different color combinations that be popping up. But if I were to say, you know what, I'm proud of being straight, and my flag is going to be something that depicts straightness, then that's going to be a problem. You see what I'm saying? That's the world we live in. I should be able to put the things that I'm proud about on a flag, and I should be able to put it everywhere that, so if let's just say, and once again, this is intentionally being disrespectful on purpose, but if I were to be a heterosexual straight male as I am, and I wanted to get a flag that just depicts my straightness, and I just put a flag, blank white canvas with a ruler in front of it and say, ha, I'm straight. Some people in the LGBTQ plus minus upside down ampersand community, that the acronym is getting way too long, would still feel some type of way about me, you know, putting that, because that's a protest to my position. You're only putting this up here because blah, blah, and this is hatred and blah, 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 blah. No, I'm proud of being straight. You're proud of being gay. You're proud of being transgender. That's cool. I'm proud of being straight. This is my flag. This is how I articulate myself. This is how I express myself. So what's different from what I'm doing and what you're doing? Oh, you have Twitter defending you. I have me. I still win in that regard. You see what I'm saying? It's like a lot of these people have movements, like they're making a movement. Come on, guys, let's riot. But wait. There's not enough people watching. Hold on. We need to get at least 1,000 people on each of our individual lives, and then we can protest, because now we have eyes and people see what we're doing instead of just doing what you believe in. I believe in solitude. I believe in freedom. I believe in authenticity. That's why for me, it's very, very hard for me to join any type of community whatsoever. I've tried it a few times. It's weird because you have to be a certain type of way. You know, that's like one of my gripes with the spiritual conscious community. Hey, morning. How you doing? Don't say morning to me. Morning means the low vibrational. I say grand rising and blah, blah, blah. And I made these jokes before. But like, to me, I really feel like a lot of these people use way too much spiritual jargon that makes you feel like you're better than people. Now, yes, if that's how you legitimately, authentically communicate, who am I to judge? But I feel like some people just go out of their way to be extra with the spiritual words they use and the judgments that come. Don't get me wrong, it's hard not to. When you know, like, you know, sexual energy exchange, when you know the foods that you eat, when you know the content that you ingest, when you know that the thoughts that you have form into thought forms, your thoughts form into thought forms. You know what I'm saying? Your thoughts form right here in front of you in a way that you're not aware of. So when people are ignorant to this fact, yes, someone that is in the know, you'll be like, but all you got to do is, if you just work on fixing that, you can reprogram yourself to it. Okay, yep, I'm just a spiritual hippie conspiracy theorist. Okay, that's why we haven't been calling the market collapse for the past 2 years. That's why we haven't been seeing that the certain cryptocurrencies are partnering up with banks. This is called non-disclosure agreements for those of you that really don't know anything about business. It's like that means they're not allowed to talk about stuff. This company hasn't been doing anything. This company hasn't been releasing any type of news. It's called behind the scenes, behind closed door deals. Certain things that like other big powerful players at play cannot release to you before their competition gets in on it. That's why there's non-disclosure agreements. So you can make these agreements without price fluctuations on the type of stuff. It's like, if you're speaking to people that are ignorant to these facts, then educate them. That is our job in the conscious community. We're here to educate. You know, we're here to educate, teach, share, all that type of stuff. But then also too, it's like, we do get that little level of elitism because, oh, we know this, and I know the 72, was it Orishas or the gods, or the whatever. Oh, I know these, and I do these, and I do my blah, 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 and I do my ceremonies, and I have an altar, and and you do none of that. You still eat here. You must be a useless person. Oh, it's weird to me. I see a lot of that in the community sometimes. And like I say, if I exhibited even a fraction of that, like what I'm like, exaggerating just to get the point across. But if I even exhibit a fraction of that, I know there's someone that wholeheartedly does this. People in the spiritual community will break each other down because I don't like your message. I think you're leading people in the way that so wait. So we're all one, right? So I am you and you are me. So if I'm saying a message that you don't like, but I'm you though, you believe in the law of one. Oh, so you forgot. You made the mistake of getting too wrapped into your own personal belief system. So you made a mistake and made a judgment on someone based off of your position, based off of your premise without knowing anything about that person. So you're imperfect as well. So maybe we should do a little bit less judging of non-spiritual conscious people and seeing where we can drop some tidbits for them, seeing where we can plant seeds in their mind. You're all about waiting. You're all about divine timing, right? So why don't you say in divine timing they'll wake up or they won't? What will be, right? All those things that we say when we're amongst only the real high vibrational people can understand what I'm saying. No, maybe it's a low vibrational person that needed to hear what you were saying so they could step their game up. I know, crazy idea here. This has been a year where it's like, I put in my 2 years on semen retention video, where the first year was me just kind of like seeing, like literally like taking the things that are floating around me in the ethers, all the good things that have come my way, all my little rewards, if you will. And then the next year, this year, was the year of putting them all together to make them work. The next year is, I don't know what the next year has in store for me. Just living life in my own way, though. If I want to do something, I'll go do it. If I want to not do something, I won't do it. If I want to do something and my car breaks down, if I want to do something and my leg starts hurting, if I want to do something and I get every single red light, I will pay attention to my intuition. I'll pay attention to the external guidance that I am receiving, and I'll turn my happy ass around and go home, because clearly there's a whole bunch of reasons why I should not be going to wherever it is that I'm going. Maybe I'll see something that'll throw me off my path. Maybe something bad will happen. Maybe I'm just saving myself some struggles because I am the future. I am the past. I am all. There is no such thing as the future and the past. It's just future that has yet to come, and is energy that has yet to come, and energy that has already come and gone. But if energy is energy, you can just tap into the past. You ever found yourself thinking about something from the past and you were just staring off into space? You were there. Everything exists all at the same time. All of these different timelines that we want all exist at the same time. I do believe we can hop from timeline to timeline to timeline. I believe that. This is also the year as well, though, where I become a lot more, not picky, that's not the word, decisive. I will be cranking my practicing of discernment a lot heavier this year. Because another thing I've noticed is like a lot of spiritual content creators, a lot of spiritual or like conscious creators, a lot of spiritual leaders, if you will, can inadvertently be leading you guys to a fearful mind state. What I mean by that is, like, don't get me wrong. There's levels to this spiritual game. There's levels to this conscious game. I'm not saying I'm at the highest or the lowest. I'm at where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. But one of the things I like to repeat is, like, a lot of people that especially just wake up, you're so excited. You want to learn everything before you really get into your branch. I kind of like focus everything into the mental aspect, the mental magic. But some people might touch on everything. More power to you. You do what you got to do. But, oh, ladybug, hello. Yeah, it's a good day. But anyway, but like a lot of people, I feel once you like get this euphoria of all this new information that you feel like you've been blocked off to, that you feel like you found, you tapped into, you want all of it all at once. I want to learn everything. No. If you were to learn everything all at one time, number one, you would not be able to process it. Number two, your head would probably explode. Because like when you start to highlight all the health things, a lot of people ignore you because it forces them to want to change their behavior. When you learn all the stuff that goes into our birth controls for our women especially, birth control is a fucking poison, dog. Birth control is a poison. For you women out there that are going through menopause and heat flashes and whatever, hot flashes, whatever, and you taking these pills that they say you have to keep taking. Wait, so I took these pills to deal with my hot flashes and I'm still having hot flashes. But now if I get off of this pill, I'm going to go through withdrawal symptoms because of this pill that's not even curing the issue that I was having. And y'all still keep running to these doctors to keep giving you more poison, not realizing what this stuff is doing to you. You know, there was like a podcast I was watching, and it was a very interesting, it was like a very quick blip. It was just like a few little thoughts, but they had like a brief moment where they stopped on this. And like a woman was saying like how she doesn't want to take birth control anymore. Like she likes being able to be young, wild, and free and do what she do. But she's like, yo, when I take this birth control, it makes me feel weird, feel different. It makes me feel weird, feel different. Like she said that when she walked to the kitchen, she would just like pick up a knife and just think about just casually. She said, I'm not suicidal. But when I take these pills, when I take these medicines and whatever, it's that all of a sudden I'll just like be holding a knife in my hand and just like start like rubbing it against my skin. And then she said she'll throw the knife down, but like, yo, why the fuck do I keep doing that? Why does that always happen after I take these pills? You see what I'm saying? It's like, I do believe birth control, there's something nefarious with birth control. And like with our foods, the maltodextrin, the fructose, the high fructose corn syrup, these random chemicals, red 40, blue, green, sea lake green. What the fuck is sea lake green? You're drinking dye. If I were to just put dye on the table and said, drink that, you would not. So why is it okay if they sprinkle it all over your food? You see what I'm saying? You won't even eat the dirt that these plants and these animals rely on. You won't even eat the dirt if it's touching, oh my God, there's dirt on my food, but you'll have literally poison like drenched on your food, sprinkled on your food. You know what I'm saying? You'll hear something about a food that you love so much, but because you have an emotional attachment to it, you won't want to change it. And this goes into all my stuff. Once you do your research on food, you realize why people go vegan. You realize why people want to eat as little as possible, because there's the other side of the spectrum. You thought that eating food and putting food into your body made you healthier. Yes, the foods that you put in there will have a certain effect, but there's also the foods that you don't put in your body that make you healthy. You know, the people that want to do half-ass health have come to really bother me in this year. You know, what's the one easy thing I could do to change to get myself being healthy? It's not one thing. Like, yes, over time, one thing builds into one thing, builds into one thing, and then over time, your life has completely changed. But like, people come to me as if I'm supposed to fix your diabetes that you've had for 20 years in one night. Don't get me wrong. Do I think it's possible? Yes, but I haven't figured out that answer yet. And from a herbal standpoint, and an energetic standpoint, I feel like anything can be possible. You know, but that's what I'm building, because I want to be a healer. I want to be able to walk up to somebody, touching your forehead. I want to get to the point where I see someone limping across the fucking street. I see somebody limping. I can just look at them, see them healthy, and then in that exact moment, they start walking upright. But then there's different rules you get into that, which means it shows like there's certain things that you have to learn at particular times. Because if they don't accept that energy, if they've in their own world accepted, you know, being a cripple, being hurt, being sick, being dumb, being poor, being unworthy, being unloved, being gross, being blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? If they've accepted all that, you can't change that in their world. Because even though you're trying to do something good for them, you have impeded on their free will. You see what I'm saying? It's a deep game, but I'm doing something good. It's their free will. They can continue to suffer, or they can take on your positive energies, you know? And that's when sometimes you have to learn when to close the door on certain people. That's one of the things I've really learned this year. You know, like when I try to talk to people, I try to educate them on, you know, health, spiritual stuff, semen retention. Like, talk to semen retention about men. Go talk to a whole bunch of men and tell them how much better their lives will be if they don't ejaculate, don't reach orgasm. Watch how crazy that is. Look at their reactions. You know what I'm saying? It's like you quickly see, like, that's like how I am with things. If a single thing can evoke such a triggering response in an individual, I pay great attention to that. Yo, you broke, man. You shut up, man. So money is your trigger. Okay. For men, one of the things I always say is, like, you know, this can be expressed, expanded to multiple people, like to women as well. But I'm like saying, what brings you happiness in life? What brings you pleasure in life? And some people got your little drawer with all your toys in it, your little straps, your little weird double-ended things, blah, 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 bing, bada, boom. Once again, I don't judge. But why is it that the only thing that brings you pleasure in life, the only thing that brings you satisfaction, the only thing that brings you happiness in life is some physical sexual device? We have the mind, body, and spirit, the physical level, the mental plane, the astral planes, you know, like, and then stuff above my comprehension, right? And the only thing out of all this level of infinite that we are living in, the only thing that brings people happiness is their nether regions, their vaginas and their penises. That's weird to me. Or wait, maybe there's a reason why people are so stuck to this. Because that thing that you think is just a physical, sex is just physical. Masturbation is just physical. That's just a lie based off of your ignorance. And you don't know any better, so you're going to keep on doing it. But when people like me that have been studying this for the past few years, literally living it and seeing life from the other side of the spectrum, try to tell you something, it's weird because it evokes a level of fear. So when it comes to health, when it comes to food, or if it comes to sexual health, you'll look at me like the weirdo because it forces you to change up your behaviors. And the reluctance to change is the fear of moving forward. That's fear speaking. Because I'm very good at articulating myself in a way that I have facts, I have life experience. This is what happened with me. For you to not even experiment with it, for you to not even try it, you're not a scientist. We're all scientists. You don't need a lab coat. You don't need a fancy piece of paper with some organization's name on it that says you did this. No, you're a scientist because you're supposed to experiment with life. You know, for me, I've said, okay, 99% of the world is doing this. I'm going to go study the thing that less than 1% are studying. That's just the way my life is. And with me devoting all of my information towards that, my life is the 1%. There's less of us here. What 20-something-year-olds are sacrificing their 20s when you got your own place, your own car? You can go mess with any chick you want, any guy you want, you know, depending if you girl, guy, get whatever y'all do. You know, it's like you can go do whatever. And I'm spending it studying in the way that I want to study. I don't want to study a book for an exam. I don't want to study a book to get a good grade, to get a letter in a box that means you did a good job. Being judged by some teachers that don't give a fuck about teaching you. I don't care about none of that. I want to study what makes my life better. I want to study what I find to be the secret. But the thing is with me, I don't keep secrets, good secrets. You know, I don't keep good secrets. If I learn something, I'll experiment with it. I'll play with it for a little bit. And if I find that it works, I'll share it with the world because it works. If it works for me, it can work for you. Why do y'all think I still press? Why I still press this, like, you know, the mental alchemy, the manifestation so seriously? Because my mind is literally different. Your world, your physical external reality around you has no choice but to reflect what you believe in your mind. Sometimes, though, people hear this, okay, I'm going to be happy today. See, not happy. You've been sad and angry and depressed for the last 5 years of your life, and you think one moment you're going to just be happy? It takes time, quote. It takes this thing called time. You know, it takes experience. It takes practice to do this. You didn't get up and ride a bike. You had training wheels. You fell a couple of times, but you got back up and you made sure your body corrected, and now you can ride a bike. The same thing goes with having a positive, optimistic attitude. The same thing goes with adopting a high vibrational way of living. You know? So don't get me wrong, though. it's like I have my two aspects of me. And I actually had a conversation with both of these aspects where they both took the floor. They both started speaking from the first person. Prince, the good side, Oliver, the quote, quote, dark side. Okay? And like, you know, when Oliver took the floor, like I knew because my energy felt different. Like I felt like Oliver back in school. He's like, yo, look, listen, I'm the defender, I'm the protector. But you know I'm down with the fuck shit. I'm down to do some stupid stuff. I'm down to go get in a fight. I'm down to go like mess with some random chick that gave me the eye. I'm down to go do, I want to, but I can't because the kid runs things in here. And I'm not mad at that. I'm just telling you how things go. You know, that's how he was talking out loud to me, to himself, to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, once again, it's this little triangle in my head. Right? And then like the kid was like, well, I mean, but does it make sense? You controlled us for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years in college. And when you were in control, we were depressed. We were drinking. We were angry. We wanted to make a whole bunch of bad decisions. But just because I was having like, so I'm trying to give y'all the conversation without, but it wouldn't make sense. So pretty much my 4 years, what I've come to realize a lot of shadow work experiences, for lack of a better word. It's like, is the kid in me, Prince, the goody two shoes in me, had like a 4 or 5 year tantrum. So he went in his room and didn't want to come out, essentially. And that's what my 4 years was, 4 or 5, like the 4 years of college and like the year and a half, 2 years afterwards. It's like that's when Oliver took over and pushed everybody away. I'm here to defend. I'm here to protect because that's what I'm supposed to do. The person running things is gone, so I'm in substitute mode. So when Prince was having his little temper tantrum, he still left the door cracked. So if Prince was about to go way off the deep end, aka go get into a fight, which was not often, but like more often than I like to admit in college, you know, it's like just go looking for some shit. Like Prince would like kind of like just pull him in through the crack in the door and be, no, you know. And there was like a little level of not hatred, but a level of hostility / anger between the two, because he's like, okay, listen, you're the kid and you run things. I don't get how that works, but whatever. But listen, you have to also realize that I am an adult. Yes, you're the kid. You're the reason why we need everything explained to us. And if you can explain it to us, then we're with it. You know what I'm saying? If you can make it just make sense, I can hear you. And that's where we find our balance. But it's like, you gotta let me be a grown ass man too, kid. Like, we can't always be playing video games and coloring books all day with people. Like, we gotta be grown sometimes. And like he was like, well, yeah, but aren't we being adults? You know, keeping our hands clean of everything. You know, like, we're not the ones that do the dirty work. We're not the ones that do the crazy stuff, but we let other people do that. So, and then like the dark side of me is like, yes, but that's not what I mean by being an adult. You see, that's why I know I'm talking to a kid. This is the conversation I had with myself, because it's like, yes, I'm the kid. I'm the goody. When I was a kid, when we were all the kid, it's like, you know, it's like we got so much praise for being good, for being quiet, for being so mature. But then as a young person growing up, I want to do the things that I skipped out on. Like I said, sometimes I feel like I'm skipping my 20s, and it's like, yo, I can't enjoy this young body that we have if you keep blocking me from having just the slightest bit of fun. But I learned that sexual energy exchange is a very big deal, and you should be careful about that. Yes, but let me have fun. I've been in the cave. I want to have fun too. And like the kid tries to make it make sense. But it's just like, once again, it's like that disconnect. Like, you know, you've ever had like a little brother, little sister, for some of you sons and daughters. And it's like, why are people so mean to one another? And you realize how big of a question that is. You realize how many nuances there are to that answer. So you kind of just have to give them a blanket statement. Well, you know, because they don't love themselves, sweetie. And that's just but why don't they? And then kids are really good with the why? Because they're learning. They're trying to get you are their source of information, so you should be able to teach them, you know? And that's why I feel like with my own kid, you know, my own version in my head, my kid, that is my child. That is my practice for when I have a legitimate little black chocolate baby will run around that came from me. But that's my baby right there. Look at them. I'm ready to be a proud ass parent. I'm ready to brag about my kids. You know what I'm saying? But at the other side of me, there's always going to be two sides of me. Yes, I'm ready to brag about my kids and talk about them when they do something dope. But at the same time, that's our experience. That's what me and my kids bond. That's what we did. That's what they did. You don't need to know what they did. Don't worry about that. If they wanted you to know what they did, they will let you know. But as a parent, sometimes you have to facilitate and guide them and help them say it's okay that you did cool things. It's okay to share it with people. Just don't brag. You see what I'm saying? This is like the constant back and forth that goes on in my head. I'm not exaggerating when I say I sit down at the table. If the table is like a metaphor, but I get into my meditative chair and I have a conversation with both sides. A few months ago, or a few weeks ago to a month ago, was the first time that they both took the floor like that and they started speaking from the first person. That's a new development for me, you know? But then there's always a third one, and that's something that's relatively new to me. You know, I got rid of Ditby. He's gone. You know, like, don't get me wrong, Oliver has now taken forward, like, he's still taking some of that energy back. But that entity known as Ditby that I used to have, I've separated from it. I've cut that cord a couple of days ago. And I can't lie. Like, it stirred up an emotional reaction in me. It's kind of like getting rid of a dog. It's kind of like a dog passing away. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know you're going to move forward. It's just a dog. You know, but that just a dog was just your family too. And for Ditby, it was a part of me. You know what I'm saying? Quite literally. It was something that I that's why I'm so big into the mental alchemy. It's like I literally turned a demon, a low-level, low-vibrational entity, and I allowed it to stay with me because I liked its purpose. I was able to see the divinity even in the lower vibrational entity. You know what I'm saying? I was able to see that purpose in it, that use for it. And I was like, you know what? You need me and I like you. I don't need you, but I like you. If anything goes wrong, then you can take over and do what you got to do. You know, but now it's just us two. Boom. Prince, Oliver. We are now more stable because it's just us. It's not that little extra entity that's inhabiting us. It's just us. So it's like, all right, we better get along now. We better get on a certain accord. It's like Oliver needs more rights in this democracy in here. He needs more of a say-so. Excuse me. He needs more of a say-so. And we're going to work on it. That's what this year's going to be. You know, that's why another reason in my semen retention video, like, don't get me wrong, I don't know what I'm going to do in this situation. I might be celibate for the rest of my life until it's time for me to have a kid. Who knows? But then there's also parts of me that's like, but there is something magical about the whole complete situation, if y'all catch my drift. There's something beautiful about it, even at just the physical level, the physical and mental level. There's something powerful about that experience. Am I limiting myself by blocking that off for me? Or is there a reason why I'm blocking off? These are still questions I ask myself, even on a long, like 2 years of semen retention, 2 years of no ejaculation whatsoever. And I still have these thoughts from time to time. Is that Oliver trying to break free, or is that Oliver trying to show me a different aspect of life? Answers I have to figure out. You know, sometimes it's nice to make videos like this. We're an hour and 12 in. I feel like I could keep on talking and talking and talking. I probably still will. But it just, on the outside, I'm aware people do this, but on the outside, it just feels like people don't have these conversations with themselves. It feels like people are not as aware of themselves as they should be. Now, the conclusions that you come to are your conclusions to come to. Some people may disagree with the conclusions that you have, the thoughts that you have. They may agree or disagree with them. That's fine. But you have to remember, it's your life. It's your world. You know what I mean? It's your life. It's your world. You do what you want. You know, no disrespect, but like, I learn from the bad characteristics of the people around me. For example, I realize how different I am than like my parents. Even though I'm literally 50% mom, 50% dad, it's like I'm still 100% me. You know, and they've developed a lot of bad habits and a lot of things. A lot of their bad habits came from luxuries that they didn't have growing up. Because once again, our parents dealt with a lot less. So when they get this new stuff, it's more fun for them. It's like new toys. But for us, we grew up with technology to the point that innovation has kind of curtailed. And innovation for us just means a new interesting app, a new interesting website, a new interesting whatever. You know what I'm saying? But for our parents, it's different. You know, when you got parents that didn't have air conditioning, you know, growing up, and then when they got it, they're going to use it to the fullest effect. You know, dad was hood rich. You know what I'm saying? He was born and raised in the hood. You know, well, not born and raised, but like, you know, he grew up the most in the hood. And then then he went to the military, and the military just feeds you the bare minimum too. So why would you got 20, 30 something years of experience, 40 maybe even, of eating crappy, for example. So why would you change that? Because I didn't have this when I was a kid. I didn't have these options. And who am I to get in between you and that thing? I didn't have this as a kid, so I enjoy it. Okay. That's another thing I've learned, though. Even though I want to fight people on certain things, I want you to be healthy and happy. If you're already happy, who am I? Your happiness has a different view than mine, or a different image than mine. If we were to draw happiness, I would use purple paint. You used orange paint. But that's happiness to you, so who am I to change that? That's where I have to catch myself sometimes. But at the same time, though, I try to be nice. I try to be balanced with it. But then people go, well, I've been feeling this, or talking to younger people. Oh my God, I'm so stressed out about this. Oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. Oh, how do I do this? I'm like, well, have you tried doing the opposite? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? No, that's just weird. So you only want help that fits in your paradigm. Yes, I get it. See, this is the annoying side of being conscious and then speaking to people that aren't at the same level as you. In certain regards, the newbies will have things that I can learn from them. A lot of people see me as a inspirational, wise person. I mean, I guess it helps being an old soul that's done half of this life 1,000 times. But at the same time, it's kind of I still have much to learn. There's nothing perfect. Well, my imperfections are what make me perfect, but there's nothing perfect about me. And I'm still a young person in this experience. I have goals, assuming whatever happens. If Earth, let's just say our world, Earth, stays the same. Everything stays the same, just the steady growth that we've been experiencing in our regular matrix type of lives, is that I plan on living past 100, just to say I did it, but I don't want to be 100 years old and still be old and decrepit. It's my goal to look like this at 100. You know what I'm saying? Or I think I'll probably get into my full frame around age 35. I want to look how I look at in my 32, 33, 34, something like that. But but nevertheless, it's that's my goal. And if that's my goal, looking at 100 something years out into the future, it's I have to be working towards that now. That's why I'm so different. It's my goals are different. I don't have 5-year goals. I don't even have 1-year goals. I don't have 1-hour goals. I have 100-year goals. And that's what I'm spending every day working towards. In 100 days, you don't have to be grinding every single day. You don't have to be hustling and bustling. No, in 100 years, you have time to relax. You have time to know when it's time to work. You have time to know when it's time to relax. You have time to know when it's time to be regimented. You have to know when it's time to be lackadaisical. Right now I'm in lax mode, but it's about to get regimented for me again here soon. I go through phases. I go through my light and dark sides. Go through my living life from my higher self and my lower self. A lot of people, that's one of the things I like about still being a contrarian everywhere I go, even in the conscious community. It's all about light, love, peace, happiness, and namaste. I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all, but what happens when it's not? Love and fear are on the same spectrum. So what happens when you meet, if you're on level 10 light, what happens when you meet level 10 fear? You know what I'm saying? Are you really ready for that? Love, light, and protection. Yeah, love, light, and protection. But there's offense and defense on most sports games and most war. Speaking of which, there's the game I play, the Last Mage Standing game. The browser game, free to play. Anyone can play it if they want to. All right. And one of the things that I've learned is that these children out here, because once again, I know this is a video game. And I know I'm playing against young people. And some of these kids be like, oh, I'm in class, I'm in school right now, and I'm at work. It's kind of funny. I'd be on business calls and whatever, just playing the game. But that game has become something of concentration for me. It's not about being the best. It's not about anything like that. It's just a browser game that probably a handful of people in the world play. But this game is for me. This game is for my concentration exercises, my working out, turning my brain off and letting my subconscious mind drift off into the things I want to bring into this world, while also constantly seeing victory. Or if I don't win, seeing a challenge, seeing something that pushes me forward. I've made this little free browser game something that has had a huge impact in my life, and I plan on buying that game. When I make it big, I'm buying that game and bringing it back. But anyway, one of the things I've learned is that people have no type of strategy for life, for anything. I'm playing the game. We're going to get a little gamer talk here. And it's like, for those of you who made an hour in, I'm not sure there's too many gamers left, but it's like, if there's a circle of poisonous gas coming in, if you step out into the gas, you will start to take damage. You can use that to your advantage in very situational purposes, but for the most part, you get squeezed in because you don't want to be taking that damage. And a lot of people have gotten mad at me because I've gotten relatively good at using the items in the game, and they call me a camper. You have no life, loser, blah, 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 blah. That's what people say when they're losers. Losers use loser talk. So when you lost, you now speak like a loser. You're speaking from the perspective of a loser. Because if you're winning, you wouldn't say these things about me. So you're only saying these things when you're a loser. But this is just stuff that kids haven't learned yet. That's okay. But like for me, it's like they see me just placing random things that they cannot beat. But for me personally, I'm putting things there because you can't beat it. I'll put this over here. I'll put this over here. These things will attack you from both sides while I send in my swarm through the middle. So I have attacking from both sides, and then you get stuck fighting them and or getting beamed by my turrets in the meantime. That's how far ahead I'm thinking with this. This is strategy. But these little kids that haven't learned past like pressing the sprint button, hold down the trigger button to shoot, they think that's just cheating, that's camping, that's spamming, that's blah blah blah. No, there's a purpose behind everything that I do, and that's something I always try to to impart on these kids, because I've noticed something else too, though, kind of contradicting myself. You will always contradict yourself in your spiritual journey. There was something that said, like, what happens when you're level 10 light and you meet level 10 darkness, for example, right? And I was like, well, it's like you fight it in the way that I'm speaking from a place of experience. So like when they hit me with the toxic stuff, it doesn't bother me. It's gamer world and it's children. I'm not going to let children influence the way I play my game, play my life, do what I do, But on the other end of the spectrum, what I've learned is when they hit you with that hatred, don't get me wrong, sometimes I'm petty and I play into it, but then sometimes I teach them. Okay, this is what I will teach you how to beat me, because I want you to be better. I want you to say that something that was once impossible is now possible. Like, it's these kids that actually, this is a particular couple of kids that I know that I'm playing against because they play around the same time that I'm working. So you just know who's playing the game. But there's these kids that they think I am invincible at the game. They quite literally say I play like a god, and I'm going to end it off on that note after this one. Hopefully, maybe, possibly. Maybe not, but it's like, yo, this dude plays like a god. He's a pro. And every time they catch me or beat me or they catch me in a bad position, it's a battle royale. So things happen. But like when they actually catch you, they're like, wow, I beat him. I mean, you beat me when I was at 10 health. So I guess congratulations. I do the same thing, but you didn't beat me. But that just goes to show that I am beatable. If you catch me at the bad position, if you wait for your opportunity to strike, if you wait for your moment when the opportunity presents itself, are you ready to pull the trigger? Are you ready to pull the trigger on said act? Yes or no? And when these kids finally pull the trigger, I definitely let them know. I'm like, see, I saw you in that bush, but I got stuck in between this person. Like, I got stuck in between you and this person that had inflicted a bunch of damage on me. So I had to kind of move closer to you than I wanted to. But with me moving just a little bit too close, I put myself in range of your attacks, and that's how you beat me. He's like, so find your moment, do what you gotta do. And like the kids will have like love-hate relationships with me when I'm bodying them and not talking, because y'all know how antisocial I can get. Then they're like, oh, you fucking asshole, you think you're so cool, you think you're pro, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I have said none of this. You have said all of this about me. You know what I'm saying? It's like that just shows the level of confirmation bias. There's like a certain word that they love to use in that community. They like to call me, of all people, a coward. I'm like, how am I a coward? You're using this and that. So I'm a coward? You're running away. Yes, I'm at 5 health. I don't want to die right now, so I'm going to stall until I get all of my health back. And then I will go heads up with you. That does not make me a coward. That's called tactical retreat. Once again, children don't know how to have strategy. But anyway, getting outside the video game is, I see so many people that have absolutely no plan whatsoever. Yes, the way that my life is scoped, 100 years is still nothing to me. 20 years is nothing. I still feel like a baby out here. You know, I still feel like I'm learning, but like even when I was a baby, when I was a 6-year-old, paying attention to 6-year-olds, I always like was confused why they were interested in the things that they were interested in. 13, same thing. 16, same thing. 20, same thing. 21, same thing. 23, same thing. 25, same thing. People in their 20s. There's a big difference between 25 to 30 and 24 to 20. Huge difference, monumental differences. Your brain's not even done developing until 25, which is a big reason why the lowest age that I will pursue is a 25-year-old. Because it's like right now, it's like when the older you get, you start to see these little weird breakdowns in age. You know, like once again, age is nothing but a number, but like, you know, there's still a level of maturity that comes with certain numbers. There's a higher percentage that you're going to get someone that acts their age at higher ages. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, I wish more people had more planning in their lives. You know, one of the most disappointing questions I asked, or one of the things I was constantly disappointed about was like, you know, you go on dates and stuff and you're just trying to figure out someone's like life plan or whatever. You know, like what are your goals? I mean, simple. And I learned to specify this. I mean, it could be something as small as wake up earlier in the morning, or, you know, do more push-ups, or go for more runs, or make $10,000 this month. I don't know, whatever. Just give me a goal that you have. Anything. And it's been so many times that I've been in the presence of a beautiful woman across the table from her, and she couldn't answer that simple ass question. Oh, you know, I'm just going with the flow right now. You telling me that you can't, there's nothing even in the slightest that you ain't gonna give me? You can't tell me that you want to fast for a day. You want to learn about quartz. You know what I'm saying? You want to start a business. You want to even research what it takes to start a business. Something? And this is why I feel so alienated, because for me, I value second, third date conversations. You know, the first day is when you have a bunch of bullshit. You tell like tiny little stories that make you look cool, make you look funny, make you look amazing, make you look important, blah, 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 blah. But second, third, fourth day is when you start talking about feelings, emotions, life, that type of stuff. Can we skip to that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why for me, it's like for dating, especially, because once again, I'm a loner, but I'm a loner and I'm a lover at the same time. You know, but it's like, I think heavily about this topic. And I'm like, what's wrong with being friends first? Crazy idea. What's wrong with getting to know one another when there's no strings attached to us? What's wrong with that progressing? Or what's wrong with that not progressing? And we say, you know what? I think we are better as friends. If we can keep things cool, cordial, and whatever, I would like to maintain being your friend. A male and female can be friends. I do believe that to be possible. And I'm not even going to get into fuck it. Let's go ahead and talk about red pill stuff real quick. You know, this is a reflection of this year. So, you know, I have always been a proponent that red pill content is useful in the beginning. It helps you break through the blue pill world. Red pill, blue pill could mean like living in the matrix, or living like a conscious free thought, or in the way that I'm talking about in this particular instance, dating world of being a man, right? You know, when you're learning about what it means to be a man, you're reestablishing your masculine frame that some of you didn't even have from the jump. It's like, I should have had it because of who my dad was. But like I said, I go into my own little world. Even though I'm 50% him, I'm still 100% me, you know? So there's certain things that I had to learn. But like when people stumble upon to red pill, MGTOW, semen retention, it could put you on a weird path. Now, yes, it's a resource and it should be utilized. It's kind of like weed, marijuana. You smoke a little bit, you go on a nice little trip, you free yourself up. But I don't think that daily use of marijuana is a good idea. I do believe that turns into misusing said herb. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be used as medicine. It's supposed to be used every once in a while, not every single day, 12 times a day. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect with this. I have my little weed binges, but then I'll go a month or two without it. And then I'll have like a little binge, a month or two without it, blah, blah, blah. But where was I going with that? Oh yeah, red pill stuff will put you sometimes in the wrong direction if you don't find some balance. That's why I made a video called the purple pill. Because for those of you that are new to this type of conversation, blue pill means like men are still putting women up on a pedestal that have offered them nothing of value that makes their lives as men better. Men are forced to have a lot of things put on us. You must have the nice car. You must have the nice clothes. You must have power. You must have this and that. And these young girls, 20, like just in their 20s, are expecting every single man that they come across to have all of these things in their 20s. With the world that we've been brought up in, that's not normal to make that much money as a 20-something-year-old. Yes, are people out there doing it? Of course they are. You know, but that's just like these unrealistic expectations that people have gotten through social media and like just confirmation bias, and you only being around people that you've been friends, but you don't realize they're hurt and they're passing on their bad habits on you. This is the type of stuff that men have to deal with. Of course, women too, but speaking from a male's perspective, we are supposed to have all this and all that. And my goals don't even when I have all that. If you expect me to have that in my 20s, I'm looking at you a little bit different as a woman. Okay, so if you get all of this, what do you offer me? You know, and we've almost been taught to accept this dumbass answer that some of you women give, and I'm sorry, but I bring the table. No. That was quick. That's the table. I bring this to the table. What do you bring to the table? I bring nope. The table was already here. I brought that. The table was here. I brought this. Do you bring me? Hold up. I'm reaching. Do you bring me this? What did you bring to the table? You brought me that. Thank you. You see what I'm saying? But we've been in this world where men have become excessively judged, especially when it comes to the said dating apps. Because women have all the power in the dating app world. You really do. And if you denounce that, then that's on you. But like, it's like women judge. And if you don't have all the things that they think that they're looking for in this perfect life that they have in their head, then you're not worth their time. You know, but then when we flip back the spectrum, it's like you quickly realize how not just women, but from my perspective, it's like how boring some of you little girls are. Can't hold a conversation. You know, you feel like you're entitled to things, but you've done nothing. So what happens when you meet someone like me that doesn't need you? What happens when you meet a man like me that doesn't need women in his life, that doesn't need sex, that doesn't need validation, that doesn't need any of that? Will I take you if you fit into my world? Of course. I accept you, you accept me, then we cool. But I'm not crying about it anymore. I'm not putting myself out there in like a demeaning, embarrassing type of way. I'm not simping anymore. So what happens when you meet someone like me? Then what happens when you meet a whole weirdo like me that not only has the testosterone flowing through his system, but doesn't care to use it on you. It doesn't care to advertise himself to you like that. I'll give a bunch of myself, but if you don't start matching me, I'm gonna start withdrawing more and more. I told you about this about me. I told you this about me. I told you this about me. And you told me nothing. Okay. Well, what position do you serve in my life? Oh, you don't? Then why are you here? You know, there's that business term called return on investment. Now, this is where a lot of men need to wake up a little bit. Just because you took a girl out on a date, just because you bought her fucking tea, coffee, just because you got breakfast with her, dinner with her, just because you watched a movie with her, just because your date concluded at 10 o'clock p.m. does not mean that she's entitled to give you sex. That's the only return on investment that you were looking for as a man? That's kind of rough. Man, I talked to that bitch for 3 hours and she didn't give me no pussy. What? Okay, did she make it clear that she wanted to smash or something? Well, she never said that, but like, if the date ends at 10 o'clock, well, I mean, yeah, the date might end at 10 o'clock, but if the movie started at 8, there was no promise of sexual interaction here. But then you, sir, as a man, have no game to get her from the date to your bedroom. So why are you mad at her? You thought because you paid money, she's supposed to open her legs up to you? So why didn't you just go get a hooker then? On that same spectrum, this is something else that I've said. You know, a lot of women these days are acting more like prostitutes than women. The only way you're going to get to this pussy is if you make such and such amount of money. Now, yes, it's okay for women to want to make sure that if they're messing with someone that they can provide and blah, 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 blah. That makes sense. I'm not mad at that. But I'm just saying, like, why is there a price tag on your vagina? Why is money even a conversation when it comes to having sex with somebody? Does this person make you happy? Does this person make you feel beautiful? Does this person make you feel wanted? Does this person actually see you? You know what I'm saying? That's what should be important. I mean, of course, hygiene and where they live could be like an additional cherry on top, but that shouldn't be the first thing. You know, I've seen a lot of people, like, we have like almost a flow chart that has no wiggle room in it. You must be this tall. You must be this color. You must be this ethnicity. You must make this much amount of money. And if you don't get through all of these perfect things, then we won't even have a conversation. Huh? How about we have the conversation, and then throughout our organically arising conversation, we figure out information about one another, and then things that we are intrigued about or things that we want to know, crazy concept, I know, but we ask. On the other end of that spectrum, I'm just playing ping pong with myself right now. When you are asking questions, for me, one of the things I've learned in dating is I'm an open book. I don't have secrets. I don't like secrets. There's a few things that I will keep tucked until like I really know you. But I'm a lot more open than most people. I will admit that. You know, y'all see my whole channel. I'm just talking about random thoughts that I have in my head and sharing them with people, no matter how embarrassing they may be. You know, but I've learned that I learn the most about people in general, but especially while I'm on dates, from the questions people ask, because a lot can be learned from, hello, my name is Prince. How are you? How much money do you make? You have a good day. So yes, the questions that you ask are important, and the timing is important too. You know, like a lot of men, they think that, like they've been taught to stop being so scared to like sexually, escalate sexually the conversation, the interaction, or whatever. Like, okay, I want to have sex with this woman, so let me turn on my charm, let me start doing this thing, and blah, 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 blah. Cool, that's important if that's your goal, sure. But once again, when you learn that skill, and women should learn this skill as well, men and women should both be responsible for initiating a sexual act, like even the lead up to everything. Women need to give better hints, and dudes need to be a little bit more, you know, transparent with what they want, but then not be try to go like gangster when she doesn't want. Oh, you don't want to give up that pussy? Then I'm out, bitch. Like, it's just like, that's weird. Everybody needs to find the balance. Everybody needs to work together to figure out what y'all are doing for the rest of the night. Let's put it like that. You know, but timing is everything. I mean, like, if y'all both knew that y'all were going to have sex with each other, like, in the beginning, like, yeah, sometimes you could just, like, skip the small talk and go handle your business. But then sometimes you have to slowly get there. If you walk up to you, and if I walked up to you as a woman and be like, hey, so, what's your favorite sexual position? You gonna look at me like, the fuck? That's how you greet people? And that shows your interest. That shows what your mind is targeted towards. That shows what you're thinking about. That shows the only thing that you're seeing me for. You know? So your questions are very important in that regard. But anyway, before, I sit here talking for another 5 hours, let me go ahead and wrap it up with this. And then when I wrap it up with this, I'm going to start tangenting on something else. But this year has been the year where I really start to step into my divinity. I really, at first, it was saying it and kind of believing it, you know what I'm saying? It feels good to say it, but, I'm still figuring it out. And I'm still figuring it out to this day. I still like to call myself a god. At the very least, some type of divinity. You know what I'm saying? But people have a weird relationship with the term God. You know, we've been taught that God is this all-seeing thing that's here to punish you whenever you don't do the thing that he programmed you to do. So if God said that I'm going to build this person, do this, in 10 lifetimes from now, he's going to do this. But I'm going to smite him if he ever questions me, even though I controlled every thought that he could possibly have because I am connected with them. You see, there's so many hypocrisies I'm not going to get into in this video. But nevertheless, we've been taught this thing about God. So when I say I'm a God, people automatically translate their belief of God, their understanding of God, into what I just said to them. And a lot of people I've quickly seen don't realize that they still have a slave master relationship with everything in their world. I mean, not even just people, with food, with interactions, with drugs, with their addictions, with their, their phones, computers, work. It's like, I have to do this in order to get something, instead of just surrounding yourself with the things that just make you happy. And it's like, I learned that, like, with me accepting my divinity, with me really starting to feel myself as a God, a God in my world, I control everything in my world. If I want to see something happen in my world in one way or another, it will happen. If I want people to come into my world, once I open the door, once I do enough work to cleanse the blockages that are stopping these things from flowing into my life, then my world will reflect as such. If I want money, I'll get it. If I want friends, I'll get it. If I wanted women, I could get them now. I don't even need to be godly. I could walk around and just go chat somebody up. It's like, I'm a dork and I'm a nerd, but I still got my dad's blood in me. Thank you, Dad. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I can be quick with the lip. I can be smooth with it. It's just, it's not my game. I know my position. I know my role. And don't get me wrong, that's constantly learning, adapting, and changing. But right now, I know where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be working on myself. I'm supposed to be growing myself. I'm supposed to be tapping into new levels of myself. I'm supposed to be motivating people. I'm supposed to be like breaking these molds, these templates that we were forced to live in as people. Oh, this is what this looks like. Why? Go to school, get good grades, get a grade, get a grade. Use those grades to get into another school that trains you more. Your enemy will never teach you. They will train you. When you get into corporate America, what is it that you do? Like, it's like, when you have a whole bunch of trainings, health training, safety training, company orientation training. It's training. That's what your whole school is. That's not the education system. It's a training system. Why do you think the government funds it? The governmental. That's how they used to control your minds. Why aren't there more artists? Why isn't like street art, like, of course certain situations there are, but I'm like, why aren't there like people lined up across this thing right now selling their art? Why aren't people blowing like glass blowers? Why aren't there more? Of course they exist, you know what they are. But I'm saying, why are these so prevalent? But like corporate America got the company I work for makes $3 billion a year. And then, like, with that being said, they employ people globally. And you telling me that all these millions of people, hundreds of thousands, million people, I don't know how many people employ here, I don't care. But you telling me all these people wanted to do this with their lives, or these were the options presented to you? Take the red pill or the blue pill. No, I'm going to take the polka dot pill. No, I'm going to take the yellow pill. No, I'm going to take the green pill. You know what? Actually, I'm going to take that solution over there. I'm going to take that drink. I'm going to take that shot. Why does it have to be a pill? Why are these the only options that the school system gave us? Lawyer, doctor, engineer, nurse, blah, blah, blah. If you're not one of these things, you're going to be a lazy plumber. You mean the same plumbers that make 70 grand minimum, 100 grand? They be making a very good living, but you just see, whenever someone tells you that they're a plumber, you just think of ass cracking plungers and shit. Literally. You know what I'm saying? Our school systems have destroyed us, and especially being Native Indigenous, a so-called black person. That's why a lot of black people are saying so-called black, because we want everyone to keep up with us. But we say so-called black because we were taught we were black. We were taught we were black. We were called this black thing. We were Native Indigenous. We were taught that all the slaves came from Africa. That is not true. That is not true. There were plenty of black people here. So when I start to find all that stuff out in my own individual research, it just doubles down on how much the school system is here to control us. I saw a video from way back when. I can't verify if this is still the case, but like the whole curriculum was developed at Kent State. It's like the whole curriculum. And then and if you think about it too, since when is it okay to read one book? And I know I'm going off on another tangent here. I apologize, but whatever. Since when is it okay to read one book, and that is now the truth? But we all know McGraw-Hill, That was like the only book you saw, or at least I saw. I'm sure there's probably other different little ones here and there, but like, it's like McGraw-Hill, I believe, is like the name of that publishing company or whatever. That's the only information we got. McGraw-Hill, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 12th grade. McGraw-Hill, 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 or some close affiliate. So you are educating, you are our education for the first 12 years, but then with your education, we are not prepared to be out here in the real world. We are prepared to be workers in this system that you've created. So we weren't being educated, we were being trained. Your oppressor will never educate you on how to defeat them. That's why in the video game, I'm not an oppressor. I'm just a challenge that most people are not used to. Yes, there's like the crackhead little 13-year-olds that I cannot compete with. But there's also like the average people that I know I'm better than. So I give you a challenge. I give you something to know that there's something you can't beat yet. And until you do, you're not good. You know? But like on the real life standpoint, is that because I've learned all this type of stuff, because I've learned about this brown stuff, aka this thing called melanin. I've learned about my hair. I've learned about how our teeth are supposed to be damn near yellow. They're not supposed to be white, bleached white, pouring bleach and chlorine on your teeth. And now after you do that, your teeth are now, yeah, they're pretty and white, but now they're extremely sensitive to the same things that you were eating yesterday. So you just harmed your body. You made your teeth weaker. This is the world I live in. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you learn about all this stuff about your body, when you learn that the whole subject of chemistry is the study of black, it's the study of melanin. The whole subject, that's the thing that they're not telling most of their own scientists. You're studying how melanin works. We've identified the God particle. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. Oh, what'd you learn about me? Huh? You know? This political scape that we live was send 40 billion across the globe to a country to which most of these people that have changed in their profile pictures to blue and yellow, you know, can't even tell you where Ukraine is on a map. But stand with Ukraine. But the hundreds of people that are getting shot up in Chicago every day, all these little black children that are just going missing, all these black people that are just going missing, not killed, not this and that, but have gone missing. And you wonder where this melatonin is coming from. Melatonin. What is the base word of melatonin? Melanin. And where do you think you're getting some of that from? Why do you think specific people that take melatonin have nightmares? Melatonin gives you nightmares? I have some people close to me that take melatonin. They don't complain about nightmares, but when a certain group of people does take it, they have nightmares. Something's different with that. It's almost like that thing that you ingested has its own energy to it, as if it came from somewhere. But you don't know where it came from. You just know it came from the store. Just put that little seed in your brain and let that sprout wherever it wants to. You know? There's a lot of darkness in this planet. There's a lot of darkness in this world. And like, I just feel like that I am quite literally a being of light. Yes, I am here in this physical experience. Yes, I am born of woman. Yes, I have physical human parents. But that doesn't mean that I'm not here for a bigger purpose. That does not mean that who I am outside of this physical vessel is not somebody huge. And not like, of course, that's like huge. Like once you escape this body, there is no more ego. You can be whoever you are, blah, blah, blah. But it's just like, I know that I'm bigger than this. If this is like the information that's trying to filter through me as me being stuck in this physical reality, imagine what's going on at the metaphysical. Imagine how much ass I must be kicking up there in the spiritual cosmic war up there. But then again, who says I'm even part of the war up there? I may or may not be. I'm not that level of consciousness to actually know. But I know I'm doing something dope. But who's to say that it's like if I'm experiencing like being the observer in the physical, then that had to have transpired at the higher levels as well. So at the higher levels, I'm also observing as well, potentially. Who knows? You know? But that doesn't, none of that takes away, and it technically only adds to the fact of our divinity. If you're a god, why can't you levitate? If you're a god, all that's coming. There's a lot of factors that have like broken down our physical vessels, but it's like, doesn't that not show our divinity, that we are so powerful as divine star dust Lemurians? If you're an Anunnaki, if you're some other type of race out there, whatever have you, does not show you how great you are, that you spawned into a world that would put you at a handicap. You wanted a challenge out of your life, and you're still winning. You have literally chosen to forget who you were. Like for all of us here that seem to have a purpose, and I do believe even the people that completely forgot their purpose, but nevertheless, it's like for those of us that are conscious of this, we have consciously forgotten who we were because it would be too overpowered. We wouldn't be able to disseminate our information to everybody in the way that we needed to, because it's above the consciousness of this place. We have come here to raise the conscious. We are pure light. White, black, Asian, Mexican, doesn't matter. We are pure light or pure darkness, depending on your understanding and your interpretation of the words. Whatever you are, we are pure energy at the end of the day. We are not good energy. We are not bad energy. We just chosen to play a role in this physical experience. Of course, this explanation may grow with me and might scrap it. Who knows? But nevertheless, that shows how awesome we are, that we have chosen to forget how infinite we were to live a limited life and still make it work. Oh, I want to go to this planet. Boop, I'm there because I have no limitations. I have no time. So I can go anywhere instantaneously. That's what I can do as a god. I want to make a new planet. I want to make a new system. I'm going to make this rock and make it work. But I'm also going to give it a system. And bada boom, boom, boom. We could do all that. I feel like we could do all that type of stuff. You could work together with your brothers and sisters to make something beautiful. A group project, if you will. Why not? Why can't gods work together on stuff? You see what I'm saying? And then we came back and said, yo, take away 99.9999% of my powers and I'm still going to be dope. I'm still going to be overpowered. That's just the way I feel, man. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, my future is going to have some ups and downs. That's what life is supposed to do. That's what karma does. That's what karma and dharma both do. I've put myself in a mental mood based off a simulation I ran in my head because it became real to me. That's one of my superpowers. I can play the simulation in my head and still learn from it, and I can run it in different ways. How's this going to go if this gets violent? How's this going to go if this gets sexual? How's this going to go if this gets awkward? How's this going to go if I'm the life of the party? How's this going to go if I make a fool of myself? I've literally had to recover from things I placed in my mind. Oh, another ladybug. It's like I've literally had to recover from things I placed in my mind. So that shows how powerful my mind is. I can make fake things real in my world. The super duper, I'm already on a baby version, but the super duper baby version of it was when I was a kid, and I would tell a lie so many times that I would start to believe it to the point that I truly do believe that I did that thing that I lied about. That's like the elementary beginning stages of this manifestation, this mental alchemy stuff. It's an amazing journey to rediscover who you are. That's what life is. Another aspect of life is rediscovering your divinity. And if you don't do that, I feel like that is sinning. The same sinning that the church taught us just means that anything that goes against the church, anything that people don't like about you is sinning. No, sinning literally means missing the mark. Just like how everything came from the Greek and Romans, the Greek and Roman words for sinning came from archery. And to sin meant to miss the mark, to miss the target. That is sinning. And that got extrapolated to the Bible. And so when we read it like that, read it out of context, we think it's punishment. Just like how repentance, to repent. It's like, no, repent just means just to have a significant change in mindset. Repent is not this thing that you have to do to get into the I mean, it is and isn't, and I'm not going to get into that into this video. I'll save that for a different one. But it's like all these words that we've been using that have such a negative connotation shouldn't even have that connotation to begin with in the first place. And it's just, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's different strokes for different folks. Even though I do salute the divinity in anybody else, I try my best not to judge, but I am not a perfect individual, and I do judge because I know I'm different. And it's like, I'm a god out here waiting for a goddess. That's just what I'm doing, And it's like, you have to get with my understanding. I want the world. It doesn't have to be my significant other. It could be somebody else that hates my guts, but I still want you to understand where I'm at. It's like, we are gods. We're supposed to be living a divine. What are you doing? all the places you can fly. But anyway, it's like we're supposed to be divine people making a divine life. If you came down here in divine being and you're acting like a slob, you're acting like just a scourge to the earth, you're acting useless, you're just an energy sucker from the planet, I don't get why you made those decisions. I don't get why you're choosing to use all of your abilities, all of your latent abilities. You're not even trying to discover them. You just think what is. And I guess that's just a way of living. That's where I have to find myself and say, hey, everyone's living their own life, but I'm living mine, and mine is just amazing the way it goes. I used to be depressed, full of anxiety, full of self-doubt, letting opportunities pass me left and right, downplaying things, calling myself undeserving, and there's just no more of that. There's just no more of me saying these things. I'm no longer blocking my blessings. Sure, there's still probably a little bit of those remnants. People are like, why didn't you do that? Why don't you take this? Why don't you do this? Because this is my life. And if I turn out, like if you were right about something and I in my own conclusion come to find out that this was a mistake, then I'm just going to switch it up. Okay, we're going to change that. We're going to start doing this now. You said you would never. I also said I would never stop eating Doritos too, but life changes. The purpose of life is to grow. The purpose of life is a never-ending level of growth, of remembrance of who you are, but also you have to learn from people's successes and mistakes. Everybody's perspective on life is different. What I call a God may be something completely disrespectful to somebody else. For some other people, they say, I'm not even scratching the surface of what it means. Who knows? This is just where I'm at now, and I'm just sharing my thoughts with y'all. Last thing, for those of you that made it this far, thank you. Because I've also had thoughts of just completely erasing this channel. Like, I've been having a lot of those thoughts, to be quite honest with you. Of just erasing this channel and actually starting over. That's just how I get down. I like to do stuff like that. I am a self-saboteur, but like for me, it's just a challenge to myself to see if I'm willing to do it again. Are you willing to start from zero? Are you willing to give this up? If I do that, it's just going to be a refresh. This is going to be a restart, because even though I don't really care about YouTuber subscriber numbers and analytics and all that type of stuff, it's a little disheartening when you post a whole video and then you have 1,000, 1,500 subscribers and then 10 people watch it, 20 people watch it. Over 3 weeks, 100 people watch it. Once again, I'm happy for those 100 people, but sometimes I feel like the numbers just aren't representative of anything. That's why I never cared about YouTube subscriber numbers. If I saw I had 10 subscribers and every time I post a video, 10 people watched it, say less. That's cool. That's 100%. But then when you get into percentages, this is why I don't care about it. But, I can't help but be up in the clouds and a part of Earth. Don't be so high and mighty that you know earthly good. It's like when you got 1,500 subscribers and then people only watch this and that, then it's like, I know I've really chopped up my fan base. Some people only watch me when I was talking about crystals. Some people only watch me when I'm talking about manifestation. Some people's just semen retention. Some people's just this and that and blah, blah, blah. So different strokes for different folks. But I know I can make this YouTuber thing real big. I could be popping off. I could be the next spiritual soul of the spiritual game. It's not a game I want to play. I see everything as a game. There's the big game called life, like the board game Life. And then there's the game of life where when you play the game of life, there's little mini games that you play to make your character stronger. There's certain games I just don't feel the need to play. I study it enough that I know everything I need to do. Thumbnails, catchy titles, talking about this thing, community interaction. I get it. I could be a streamer, but I just don't have the temperament for it. I could be a heavy YouTuber, but I like to upload whenever I want to. I don't like giving myself I upload every Tuesday at 3:33. So then when you miss that upload, then what? You know what I'm saying? If I want to upload 6 messages in one day, I will. If I want to upload 6 things of me just thinking out loud, I will. If I want to have get on my soapbox and preach to you for a couple hours, that's what I'm gonna do, like I did now. But I'm just talking about me. If I were to ask some of y'all right now, describe yourself, would you be able to do it? Would you be able to talk about yourself for 2 hours straight? I could talk about it more, but I'm just wrapping this up now. This was an amazing year. And I feel like I'm tapped in. I'm hearing ringing in my ears. I'm seeing things in the sky. When people are acting a certain type of way, I see the source of it immediately. Things just stand out to me because I'm protected it. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for a greater purpose. And while I'm fulfilling said purpose, I'm going to be protected in the meantime. Nothing's going to be able to mess with me. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. And we just going to keep on growing and being better. Till the next one.